Derelicts is an upcoming survival game that is gaining a lot of popularity on social media, but why? Well, for starters, the game is beautiful. The developer has dropped many screenshots and short videos detailing different environments and features, and they all look amazing. Secondly, the developer is very vocal about his passion for game development and the survival genre specifically. He is inspired by games like The Forest and movies like I Am Legend, and you see those inspirations in the videos he posts. The world he has built uses the environments to tell the story of humanity's downfall, not just with the overgrown landscape and the mutated creatures, no, but with specific scenes crafted with the viewer in mind. Romain, the developer, wanted to avoid zombies because they are overutilized and no longer fit for an original idea, and maybe the gaming community feels the same with how much attention he is garnishing. The main enemies the player will face, as mentioned earlier, is mutated creatures like animals, insects, and even humanoids. And this makes sense because he is wanting to make a survival horror vibe in the game. You shouldn't be able to walk around and feel at ease. Something will always feel slightly off. The crafting system is something that has piqued players' interests as well. Firstly, the building mechanics are clean. There is not a lot of things on the screen when you do see the character building something. This is different from a lot of survival games like 7 Days to Die or Scum, in that the user interface is implemented in the game as realistic elements and not simply as buttons to press in a menu. This will be similar to The Forest, where the players pull out their backpack and select an item or a book to start building. The crafting is going to be more involved of a system, and perhaps even more so than The Forest. You will physically have to hit the object with a hammer to build it at a crafting bench. You will need to physically bellow the fire at the forge. You will need to oversee the crafting of whatever object you are building to make sure it comes out and comes out right, which is exciting because, to me at least, that implies that the quality of the object and maybe its durability or its efficiency of some kind will depend on how astute you are of a craftsman. Now, this obviously raises the question of pacing and balance between the threats the player will face in the living environment and the time they spend crafting. Well, the gameplay loop is going to start out slow. The player will start the new game in a safe part of the map, and yes, different parts of the map will be more difficult than other parts. There's no scaling here necessarily. No creatures will attack you for the first few days, and this will give you enough time and a good opportunity to familiarize yourself with the features and the environment. You can build up a simple base camp, gather your resources, and once you have enough and you advance a little bit, then the mutants will slowly start getting curious and approaching you. There is a forced progression in the game. The more advanced you are, the more aggressive the enemies will become, and new enemies will even emerge. But you can only get so advanced before you need to explore further reaches of the land, which will require you to upgrade your base to its fullest extent for best survival chances, because the more advanced your base is, the more tools, gear, and weaponry you can actually craft yourself. The more difficult part of the game will come with the weather, the environmental dangers. This is not a safe place to be. This is not a vacation. And the blizzard storms, tornadoes will let you know that when they destroy your base. Environmental threats like this are really important to the survival genre because you can't defeat it. Just defend against it and take precautionary measures to reduce their impact. This is especially important for players' development because if the player gets too powerful and can defeat everything in the game gets easy. And there is no longer a reason to play. It's no longer a survival game. So if you build a water wheel to gather water and winter comes, the water freezes. And guess what? Now you have no more water. If there is no wind, there is no windmill. If there is no sun, there is no solar panels. You will need to diversify your energy sources and have fallback plans. There will be space debris that will fall from the hecking sky on occasion as well. Another difficult part of this game will be the world bosses, or really difficult areas with key items that you need to progress in the game. Think of The Forest, where you need to travel into caves to find different tools to progress the main story. It's the same idea here, which is really great because it's organic and encourages map exploration. The way the map is currently laid out, very vertical and diverse in where you can go, and it was inspired by Dark Souls. The surface is a sandbox with large forests and a shoreline. We have all seen this in the trailers and the photos, but underneath the surface are the dungeons, and everything is interconnected. You can continue from one dungeon to the others once you defeat the bosses in those areas, and this is important because defeating the bosses is required to progress the game, but advancing your base and gear are required to defeat the bosses. The game loop sounds seamless. Derelicts is sounding like an amazing solo or co-op experience that is set for early access next year in 2024. Let me know your thoughts down below, what you're hoping to see. Check out some of my other videos here. Thanks for watching. Path out.